Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm John, this is Mania True Nerd, and welcome to Hitman Absolution, a game I have been meaning to do for a very, very long time. Now, let me just say, I adore the Hitman franchise. Some fantastic games in there. Brilliant level design, brilliant ideas, very exciting, and the new Hitman game looks absolutely amazingly fantastic. Genuinely, I've seen some of the GameSpot footage really recently, and that looks really exciting. But Hitman Absolution, it's one of my least liked games of all time. But what I kind of realised when I was thinking about this recently was, imagine, if you will, and some of you may not have to imagine, that you have an ex-partner, an ex-girlfriend or an ex-boyfriend, and you don't get on well with this person. You kind of hate this person. Every time you think of them, every time you remember they exist, you are filled with negative emotions. Sooner or later, the only thing you can do with that situation is you need to go and sit down with that person again. Because you need to get closure, finish things off once and for all in order that you can move on properly. And you don't know when you go to that how you're going to feel. Is all the anger going to bubble out? Or are you actually going to feel at peace? Or are actually you going to feel that actually all that hatred you've been feeling for years about Hitman Absolution, or whatever your ex-girlfriend's name is, all that anger you've been feeling for years was actually a little bit OTT. Maybe you shouldn't have been as angry as you did. So I played Hitman Absolution all the way through, and I've never played it since. I played the entirety of the game. I played it to the end. I wanted to give it a fair shot, and I've never touched it since. Unlike Blood Money, which I've played through like a million times. So I'm going to play Hitman Absolution for the first time since I put down the controller and declared it one of the worst games I've ever played, despite being one of the best franchises I've ever made. And I'm going to try and explain my feelings, and I'm going to see if maybe I come with a better opinion out of it. But I know the moment I press the start button and the cutscene to introduce the story starts playing, we're going to hit one of the big missteps I think it makes immediately.
For years, Diana was my sole handler at the agency. Then last August 10th, Diana brought the agency to its knees. She flushed all accounts, cut off all communication lines, exposed the agents, and used the confusion to vanish. Now the reformed agency has finally tracked her down and offered me the contract.
Oh yes, and I'd completely forgotten this intro sequence as well, where the footage of 47 infiltrating Diana's house, which isn't anything like this when it actually happens, when we do it in a second, involves Diana in the shower, and we get to see the water on her naked body, and you don't actually see anything, but the angles are set up to make you think like you might have seen something. The whole thing is just, it's grossly exploitative. It's just horrible that they decided to do this. So let's go over the list of weird decisions that were made there. So, number one, Diana decided to betray the agency, which is rather odd given the events at the end of Hitman Blood Money basically suggested the agency had been wiped out. There was pretty much nothing but her left, so she was able to rebuild it as she saw fit. So how exactly did it get to this extent where she wanted to then wipe it out, given she was pretty much now running the damn thing, including at the end of Blood Money, we saw her actually, one-on-one on the phone with members of royalty around the world. She was that damn powerful at that point. But okay, fine. She decided to destroy the agency for some reason that was never trailed before. Whatever, I'll go with that. And obviously when the agency reformed afterwards, they kept the name The Agency, even though you'd think if you'd set up a secret organisation of assassins and it had been exposed, maybe you'd come up with a different name than giving it the same one. Just an idea. And then if you decided you wanted to hunt down and kill Diana, you'd send 47 to do it. Diana and 47, who have a relationship that stretches back years, a personal relationship that goes to the extent that when Diana was able to track down 47 at the end of Blood Money and she infiltrated his hideout, 47 didn't shoot her on sight. which, you know, for pretty much anyone else he would have done. Instead, he actually let his guard down. He turned his back to her. She actually trusted her enough that she was able to get the syringe of the coma drug into his neck without actually telling him the plan. That was how much 47 trusted her. She's pretty much the only person that 47 knows, likes, and trusts. And at the end of Blood Money, I'm pretty sure 47 will be aware, even if he didn't approve of her methods, that he actually owes her his life. Due to the fact that obviously the kiss that she gave him at his funeral contained the antidote to the coma drug that woke him up, and thus he was able to kill everyone, get rid of all the people who were trying to wipe out the agency, that time at least, and escape. So, 47 don't have such a close relationship. You've got an agency of assassins! Use any of them! I suspect, and I don't know this, but I strongly suspect a different team wrote this story than wrote the previous ones, and a team that didn't really do much research, because it feels to me like someone on their first day making a Hitman game would just sit and say, okay, what's the cast we've got? Well, there's like 47, and there's like Diana, who's his like handler, and like they may or may not be a thing or whatever. It's like, oh, what if like 47 had to kill that dude? 47 killing Diana would be so sweet. But yeah, bad decisions all around, doesn't make any sense, and just, it's a very dangerous territory when you're part of a franchise that's got an ongoing narrative, where previously the games have hooked together really well, like Contracts and Blood Money perfectly hooked into each other, the events of Contracts taking place in a defined point within Blood Money. When all the games hook into each other like that previously, it's pretty dangerous to just go making stuff up that doesn't stand up to even just 2 minutes of poking at it. Anyway, let's crack on, shall we? And I'm going to play this on normal because, as I say, it's been such a long time since I've played this game. I just feel like I've probably forgotten half of where the stuff is, so I'm just going to play on the normal difficulty. And here we are in Hitman Absolution, and I will say, it does not have a bad start. It actually has a pretty good start. They changed the controls a little bit, and some of those I don't think are necessarily that good. I really like Hitman Blood Money's super simple controls of simply having, like, A, B, and Y just being on screen, and then just those being entirely situational, and that being more than enough. This game kind of did more to assign specific actions to specific times, but there's a few bits I do like being able to select as kind of a quick select in without going into a pause menu between single silver baller, double silver baller, fiber wire, or kind of put gun away. That was nice. That was kind of quite a nice little touch. Now, at this point in the game, I was actually feeling really damn good about Hitman Absolution. I felt like, you know what? We've got a nice little clinging to walls, sneaking through area. I mean, that's a nice addition. That's a useful addition for 47 to actually have. That's quite good. I approve of that existing. And then just a quick toss to distract you.
Huh? Excellent. Slip past while the guard is distracted.
I could do that, or I could further distract him.
Man, we still have disturbances. I'll do a sweep out.
I think he was possibly a little bit less distracted. Then we've got this aiming system that kind of clearly was set up more to encourage you to take a very precise shot, where if you were willing to take a second to take a precise shot, you take a very precise shot. In a rapid firefight, 47 was not as good. It's a bit fiddly, and I'm not sure I ever used it again at any point in the game, but the precise aim thing, the kind of the halfway button, the halfway trigger push, is actually kind of very nice for incentivizing you to take precise shots. And then we've got the garroting. The garroting is actually really good in this game because it was the close combat kills that were not very good in Blood Money. Those were probably the only weak bit of the entire game. The fact that you ended up in a situation where you often would use your guns over using fiber wire or syringes, because syringes and fiber wire can sometimes be a bit funny, and sometimes if the character like half turned around, you wouldn't get the kill, you'd get spotted and then immediately get shot. So that was a bit of a problem. So I think it's much better, especially when once you've garroted someone in this version of the game, you end up in a situation where you're immediately dragging them, so you can move them into a container, and containers hold 2 corpses each. So containers are much more powerful than they used to be. There's just a lot here that when I was getting to this stage of the game, I immediately thought, yes, this is good. This is very, very good. More good things. The fast sneaking was fantastic. Brilliant addition. 47 moved a little bit too slowly while he was sneaking in previous games. This game let you move around, so you kind of basically would always stay in sneak mode, which felt like the most natural thing in the world to do. Fantastic addition. Perfect. Okay, and then just decide to sneak around. Possibly, if anything, the sneaking was a little bit too powerful. Let's get out our fiber wire. Garrot. And bring him straight back here. See, lovely, lovely, smooth garroting action. Drop. Straight back into cover. Except this time he doesn't want to go into cover. 47, go into cover. There you go. That's more like it. And straight up behind this other guy who's kind of gone up this way. Lovely. And just quickly subdue you. He found a body, but that's fine. He immediately died. And just drop him down here. See, the whole thing feels nice and smooth. When I first played it, I immediately thought, this is great. There are some great additions here. There's a few more slightly problematic ones. The main one I'm not thrilled about is this instinct thing. That basically just shows you where all the enemies are. That I was never 100% keen on. Just because I think that makes the game just a little bit too easy. Let's see if we can just get this guy's attention.
Slip past while the guard is distracted.
Did you? I could slip past, but that wasn't actually my plan. My plan A involved more kind of massacring him. Now, is he actually going to go this way? And do I want to go to fiber wire? Yes, I do. I'll get into instinct when it becomes kind of more of an issue, but I was never overwhelmingly convinced by instinct as a system. I'll also say I love the addition of multiple new kind of little ways to kill people with alternate weapons. That was always one of the fun little things in like a Hitman game. The fact that I could just pick up this hammer and use it to kind of strangle someone rather than any other mechanism. That's a lovely addition right there. Just sneak around the back of people. Beautiful. Just strangle him with the hammer too. Lovely. Wish it was a little bit more visceral, but all in all, good. And this is how I felt about this game. The very first level is alright. It's pretty decent. It changes a bunch of stuff, but the changes it makes actually feel quite positive. Now let's just quickly throw a hammer at him.
Man, there's still something going on.
Feel like that should have hurt him more, really, but never mind. Also, the fact that someone threw a hammer at him from behind, and he didn't think I should probably turn around. See, I was trying to do the half squeeze then fire thing then, but I didn't do it because you really have to just. You have to just nuzzle. You have to just very gently nuzzle the right trigger, like it's a loved one. And there's a fantastic addition that you can just nudge someone into the water. That's perfect. That's a lovely addition. In Hitman Blood Money, it was very difficult to get people into the water. And then you just can basically pull out a gun and immediately make it drop away. Little unrealistic, but it's a lovely touch for making you feel like a badass. All of these, good things, good decisions. And here's a lovely addition. Acquire the target and throw. One shot kill with a knife is a beautiful addition. This is another genuinely fantastic thing. Now, get the disguise. Get the gun. Drag him. And get rid of him. Oh, no, sorry. Need to dump him, my mistake. And this is where it all goes wrong a bit. The disguises and instinct and how disguises work in this game. Now, let me be very, very clear. The idea is genius. If, the security detail recognised the security, but obviously wouldn't recognise the other staff, and all like the kitchen staff would recognise each other, but the guards wouldn't be able to tell one cook or waiting staff from another. That'd be a really lovely system. The problem is, if you're going to do that, you're rapidly running into the issue of realism versus fun. And you're going to have to think really, really careful about level design if you want to carry that off. Because the problem you're going to run into incredibly quickly is if you make it not fun to traverse the levels, because huge swathes of the levels you don't dare go into dressed in certain ways, or you're only allowed into a particular area with a very particular costume, you're taking the freedom out of Hitman. And freedom is absolutely essential to the Hitman franchise. So the failure here is not a failure of the mechanic. The failure here is a failure of level design. Which you can see at the front door of this greenhouse here, what we've got is we've got both a guard and a gardener. And the only two disguises I have available are guard or gardener. So there's no way to get in because this is the only entrance other than by using the instinct. And instinct, by the way, basically breaks down to I'm going to hold on to my hat and slightly cover my face. which I wouldn't have thought was such an, incredibly intensive skill that 47 has a limited ability to do that. I mean, I can walk around holding a hat a lot of the time. That's all he does. I think pretty much any disguise in the game, he does it with the police hat as well. He just slightly tucks his hat down, slightly puts his face down. This is a thing that a superhuman assassin at peak human condition can only do for an extremely limited period, and that's kind of odd. And look, dotted around this area, there's both guards and gardeners, so even though I'm on the other side of the room from the gardeners, I still need to go into cover to avoid the other gardeners seeing me. And though it creates the realism that, the gardeners don't recognise their own, it creates another absurdity, which is now I'm blatantly kind of hiding from view and doing a kind of a weird kind of crouch and trying to hide from view, which the guards are openly seeing, but they don't mind the fact that I'm going around openly hiding. And no one in this game basically minds you going around hiding and it being pretty obvious that you're being an assassin. If you're part of a security detail, seeing someone who's dressed correctly just walking past you as if they own the place might fool you. Seeing someone who you're not sure whether they ought to be there or not, but they're clearly acting suspiciously enough that they're hiding from people who are dressed like them, that's probably even more suspicious. Once again, there's the fine, dramatic continuation of the idea that in the Hitman franchise, nobody can swim. I feel like if I'd have been pushed over that, my immediate response would have been, "Hey, why'd you push me in the water? Hey guys, this gardener pushed me into the water. Somebody punish him or something. Make sure he doesn't get paid for today. That was a mild inconvenience to my guard duties." Unless Diana is actually just keeping a slightly placid herd of piranhas underneath this in this little water garden, I very much doubt that it was actually going to be as fatal as was suggested there. And then we've just got to turn this valve to get people away from the door so that I can walk straight on through. And instinct gets restored by doing actions. Again, that's an alright system. Arguably, this might be slightly too much bloom. This is one of my favourite little running jokes in Hitman Absolution, and Hitman Absolution did have a lovely little line of kind of running gags, and Hitman was always a game that had a fun sense of humour.
What? You're kidding. Wait, are you sure? It's not prostate cancer. I could kiss you. I mean, that's great news. Oh, man, you made my day. Yeah, thanks, Doc. Yeah, whew, man, I thought I was a goner. Yeah, Doc, I gotta run. Duty calls, and thank you so much. You have a nice day, too.
Quick coffee mug over there. That guard gets a bit confused. He'll go and investigate to make sure he doesn't face me, and that means that I can go and garrote him. Smooth, lovely, arguably a little bit too smooth and lovely, but then equally I feel like maybe you ought to be rewarded for going around and doing things as subtly as you've been doing. That's quite nice. That's a good thing to do, reward a player for using the fibre wire. I'll also say I like the checkpoint system in Absolution. Brilliant little checkpoint system. The idea that rather than the manual saves that you got kind of a few of in the previous Hitman games, instead there were just points where you could activate a checkpoint at the time you wished. So, that's just a nice little system so that rather than there being... Because, say, for example, if you got like 3 saves in Hitman Blood Money on, I think it's 3 saves on expert difficulty. 3 saves in some missions is very little, and in some missions that's kind of, more than you're ever going to need, so it was a bit weird. So it made more sense that they tied the number of saves to the actual level, so there could be an appropriate number of saves per level. Nice addition. Again, lovely. Absolutely fine as an addition. So the mansion's probably the first kind of major area of the game, and this actually is where the game really convinced me, actually, you know what, we're onto a really damn good thing over here. So, got a chef here. Oh, don't mind me, I'm just hiding in your kitchen.
Search the cupboards for terrorists or whatever it is you do.
Look, shut up, I don't care. And here's kind of a couple of reasons where I genuinely thought this game might actually be just utterly fantastic. Genuinely, I did. It was kind of the point where I realised, okay, one, as there's only one chef in the level, that means that I can wander around as the chef, and as a result, now I'm just playing by Hitman Blood Money rules. Everyone's fine with me, I can go wherever I want. Beautiful. But even better than that, as a rather clever little thing, because loads of items now live on kind of extra weapons on the D-pad, I was allowed to hold this knife, because I'm a chef, so of course I'm allowed to hold this knife. And this knife, of course, is also potentially a deadly weapon. I could just toss this knife and kill this guy anytime I wanted to. If I wanted to just kind of kill this guy, that's an instant kill. And that's really cool. It's visceral, it's nice, it's lovely.
What's his
Open the window blinds and walk away. And that'll lure one person out of the way. Very nicely.
Report with my intel officer after duty for a security check.
Yes, I'm sure that's going to be what's going to happen. And that draws this guy around here, who we can now just pull around the corner, because obviously the head of security decides he's going to turn the thing on personally for some reason. And then we can just get his key card, nice and easy. One thing I'll say I definitely didn't like about this game, and I will hold that this was a bad misstep, was having the score on screen the whole time. The score should not have been on screen, because the score basically just discourages you from doing anything like killing. It basically is the game. It's the game telling you off. So I've made it here, and I've just got a big pile of points. But if I killed someone, your score, it just goes, minus 200 points. I feel like this should kind of been modded, just so that the game just made a kind of a slightly disapproving series of noises at the time whenever you did something that the game didn't approve of. Oh dear. Well, I guess you always knew you weren't going to get any use out of that degree. Well, when are you actually going to get a proper job? The game could have just done something like that. That would have been brilliant. Now, unlock, and move on. Now this bit was always slightly confusing. The door of beads. The door of beads that was slightly more ambitious than the game should have gone for. These just look so weird. The colours are slightly weirdly unnaturally bright. It's like a computer monitor made into beads on a door. I mean, I like the way, I see what they were attempting to do. They were trying to make a really cool physicsy thing, but they probably shouldn't have done something that did it in quite these horrendous. It's like paint. It's like the old Windows 95 Maze screensaver. It's just a horrendous garish colour. This is a colour that I'm pretty sure cannot exist in the real world. Oh, that's horrendous. Oh, that's enough to make you feel slightly ill. Now, at the end of this hall is Diana's room. Now, we were sent to assassinate Diana. Entering Diana's room triggers a cutscene. We do not actually get to kill Diana. Now, that's a little bit of a worrying thing to begin with, but let's just go in and see what happens, shall we? And here we go. Diana in the shower, obviously. And this should have been the first moment we saw her face. But it wasn't. We saw it in that little bit right at the beginning when we saw her file. And it was stupid. Because Diana's face was always hidden. This should have been the first time we ever saw Diana's face. Now that would have been much better. But no. I don't know why they did it this way.
'47?
Report, 47.
I should kill you. Why did you do this?
47!
Damn it, what's wrong with this thing?
We all have our limits. Even you, 47. We used to have honor.
Diana,
No. I had to take her away from the doctors. I knew you would understand.
This woman has been intimately involved in commissioning the deaths of thousands for money. But hey, I guess that was honourable. She's drawn a line because she discovered a girl was suffering.
In my robe. A letter. Now go. Take the girl and run. Before Travis finds out. Please. Do not let her turn into you. Promise me.
I promise.
And welcome to series of baffling plot conveniences number 2. Can't go back through this door, sadly, to examine Diana's body any further. So yes, 47 decides to shoot Diana, and after he's shot Diana, says, I should kill you for what you've done, but I've decided I'm not going to, despite having already shot you. Now, plot twist, cover your ears if you don't want spoilers, Diana does survive this. I'm not quite sure how she survives this. It's clear that she was actually shot because there was blood on the floor when they were in the bathroom together, and he did just leave her in the bathroom there. Now, I guess it's possible she just got better, but it's still deeply confusing as to whether that was actually supposed to have happened or not. It then turns out Diana, in fact, has entrusted the care of somebody, we'll get to her in a bloody minute, to you because you would understand for some reason. Now, that's fine, but if she knew that you would understand, why didn't she tell you about this earlier? Diana and 47 know each other. Diana was able to find you previously. She located your hideout in Blood Money. Why on earth didn't she just tell you? Why didn't she contact you? She's always been able to contact you previously. I guess she wasn't able to contact you at the beginning of Hitman 2, Silent Assassin, but that's because you were deliberately hiding. In this particular case, it's clear that you're still working for the agency. She could have just called in a hit if she wanted to contact you somehow. It would have not been difficult to track you down with her experience and knowledge. Now here's definitely where things go completely cocking wrong. The damn point shooting, where you can just freeze time, point at enemies, and then say, okay, I think you can all die now. Dead, dead, and all of them dead. Not a very Hitman-y type thing to do, just being able to just hide behind a bar and then just pop out and just murder 4 people without them even having a chance to return fire. This is normally the sort of thing where I would typically expect in a game like this that to be pretty much instant failure. You know, you should maybe hit the fuse box, sneak around them, distract them somehow, throw an item, just basically do anything other than just murder them all straight up. And in the room we find a girl who's mysteriously in school uniform, despite the fact one can't imagine Diana ever actually let her go to school.
She's dead, isn't she?
Come on, stay close to me.
Where are we going?
Why did the agency want you?
I don't know, I guess I might have...
Diana did this for you. Why?
Please, she was my only friend. She took me away from the doctors.
Game development studios need to have like a special alarm set up so that in the event that someone at IO Interactive ever again says, what should we add to make our game better? And someone else replies, do you think if maybe we added a slightly oblivious teenage girl? At that point the alarms would just go off throughout the facility and that person would immediately be fired out of a cannon into the sun.
God damn it! I was afraid he couldn't do it.
God damn it, says Travis. If only we'd sent someone who didn't have a long-standing personal relationship with Diana to kill Diana. Why didn't I think of that? Damn it. So let me say at this point, ladies and gentlemen, as I begin my replay of Hitman Absolution, I have probably been maybe a little bit harsh to it. Maybe I have, in my dislike of this entry in the series versus, say, Blood Money, perhaps I've kind of neglected some of the things that, in fact the many things, that Absolution did well, like the garroting leading directly into the drag, the faster moving creep speed, lots of little choices that were actually pretty good. Holding, being able to kind of hold weapons and kind of toss those as projectiles, and people being able to hold relevant weapons, like chefs being allowed to hold knives but nothing else. That's all lovely. There's some really good decisions in this game, and as I go forward into the next missions, I'm kind of curious as to whether I'm actually going to come to a more positive opinion, because I remember really hating this game right from the first level, but I look at this level now and I think, okay, there's things I would have done differently, and it's not as good as Blood Money, but it's alright. It's probably okay-ish, kind of edging towards good. So, we will carry this on next week, and we shall see whether my sit-down with Hitman Absolution is, in a shock twist, going to lead to me re-evaluating it a little bit more positively than I did in the past. And I'm very curious as to whether I might come to a more positive appreciation of this black horse in the Hitman franchise. And we shall see the answer to that question next week, ladies and gentlemen. In the meantime, I've been John. It's been many a true nerd, and this has been Hitman Absolution. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Good dodge, man. Question is, can you keep it up, cop? Oh, no, you can't. Ooh, nice. Oh, didn't quite get that one, though. We are going to the gun store in style. Oh, where's my partner? Oh, he's not here. Oh, so long, loser.